Someone cuts you off in traffic. No signal, no space, just a car sliding into the gap in front of you like you weren't even there. And something happens in your body before you've decided anything. Heat, a jolt, maybe your hands tighten on the wheel. Maybe you say something out loud in an empty car to a driver who can't hear you and probably doesn't care. Excuse me. Here's what's strange about that. You'll never see this person again. You don't know them. In an hour, you probably won't remember the car. By any reasonable measure, nothing happened. A stranger made a small driving decision and you were mildly inconvenienced for a few seconds. But you're furious. Not just annoyed, furious. Out of all proportion to a thing that, well, written down sounds like nothing, right? So the real question isn't why bad driving is irritating. It's why this particular situation from a stranger over almost nothing feels so personal. Because that's the part that doesn't add up, right? Personal how? There's no personality there, just a car. Let me give you a way to look at this because it's the lens I'm going to use for the rest. I work in a framework I call psychological architecture. It's a way of reading what's happening in you across 4 domains. Mind, which is how you read a situation. Emotion, which is what moves in you once you've read it. Identity, which is your sense of who you are and whether you count. And meaning, which is what the moment ends up saying about the larger world. Those 4 aren't separate. They lean on each other. A shift in one becomes pressure in the next. And that chain is exactly what we're about to follow. Watch where it starts. The car cuts in. That's just information, a shape moving into space. But you don't experience it as information. Almost instantly, your mind supplies a reason. He did that on purpose. He saw me. He didn't care. He's a jerk. He's whatever label you reach for. None of that is the event. You added all of it. The driver might be distracted or lost or having the worst day of his life. You'll never know. But your mind didn't wait to find out. It read intent into a maneuver, and it read that intent as being about you. That's the first move, and it's already done its damage because now emotion has something to work with. You're not reacting to a car anymore. You're reacting to disrespect. And disrespect gets a physical answer. The heat, the grip on the wheel, the words in the empty car. Your body has geared up as if something real is at stake. But here's the question that opens the whole thing up. What exactly is at stake? He's gone. You're fine. Nothing was lost. What's at stake is that for 1 second, you were treated as though you weren't there. And something in you refuses that. This is where identity carries the weight next. And it's the strangest part, so stay with it. You see, out on the road, you're nobody in particular. Anonymous, just another car. And normally that's fine. But when someone cuts in front of you, that anonymity becomes vulnerability. There's no relationship here, no history, no accountability. You're just an object moving through traffic. And you've been treated as part of the scenery. Not a person, someone in the way, someone to steer around without a thought. Now change the situation slightly and watch the same nerve get pressed even harder. You're trying to merge in, your signal's on, you've made yourself visible. With your blinker, you have politely asked in the small, wordless way the drivers ask. And the car in the next lane speeds up, closes the gap, makes sure you can't get in. That one's different and worse, and it's worth seeing why. You see, being cut off, you can at least tell yourself he didn't see you. But this, he saw you. That's the whole point. He looked. He understood exactly what you were asking, and he decided no. The intent you had to imagine a second ago is now sitting right there in the open. Someone registered you and refused you. And there's a part of you that will not accept that insists on being counted. It's close to the center of what being a self is, but it means a stranger, by doing almost nothing, has pressed on the one thing you can't let go of: the need to be registered, to be seen, to be someone, even to a person who will never know your name. Now let's change it once more, because there's a version that isn't indifference or refusal, it's aggression. The driver who rides your bumper, who pulls up close and stays there, or the one who brake checks you, or swings in front of you and slows down on purpose. This isn't someone steering around you like scenery, and it isn't someone shutting a door you asked to walk through. This is someone coming at you. And your mind doesn't have to supply the intent here, and it doesn't have to read it off a closed gap. It's aimed directly at you. The whole maneuver is the message: someone picked you, which presses on identity from the other side. Being cut off, the wound was that you didn't register. This is the opposite. You registered too much. You've been singled out, made into a target by a stranger who's decided, for reasons you'll probably never know, that you're the thing standing in his way. You're not scenery anymore. You're an obstacle he intends to move. And that has its own particular heat, because now it isn't just, hey, pay attention, see me. It's, who are you to come at me? The threat isn't erasure. It's being cornered. Someone has reached into your space and made it about you. And every instinct you have says answer it, respond to it, match it. Don't let it stand. Look at what emotion is actually carrying across all three: being erased, being refused, being targeted. Different injuries, but the reaction has the same size, because each one presses the same nerve from a different angle, whether you count and on whose terms. That's why it's rage and not mild annoyance. The size of the reaction isn't about the driving. When you're cut off, it's about experiencing yourself for a second as a no one. When you're refused, it's a verdict. You asked to be counted and someone said no. And when you're targeted, it's a stranger deciding that you're in the way and moving to prove it. None of those is a misunderstanding that you can shrug off. Each one is someone telling you where you stand. And then meaning closes the loop now, because it's rarely just this driver. It becomes now people. People are like this now. Nobody looks. Nobody lets anybody in. Everyone's out for themselves, and some of them will come at you for sport. One closed gap, one car riding your bumper, quietly becomes evidence about the whole world and your place in it. A world that pushes past you and doesn't see you, or at worst, sees you and comes for you anyway. And once that becomes your story, watch what it does. The next car that drifts even a little isn't a neutral event anymore. You're already primed. You're waiting for it. The meaning you just made reaches back into how your mind reads the very next thing, and it reads it as one more instance of the same refusal. That's the loop. A maneuver gets read as intent. The intent becomes emotion. The emotion presses on your need to count, whether by erasing you, refusing you, or targeting you. That threat now becomes a story about everyone, about the world. And the story loads on to the next situation, the next reading, before it even happens. None of this required a real enemy. You built the whole thing out of a few seconds and a stranger who's already 3 exits away and has probably forgotten you entirely. The car was never the point. It was just the place you happened to watch it run. The reading, the heat, the need to count, the story about everyone, that machinery is running all the time, under everything, quietly deciding what things mean to you before you ever get a say in it. Traffic just makes it easy to see. A stranger, a closed gap, 4 seconds, small enough that when the whole apparatus fires, you can finally watch it unfold.